And here's my top 10 hurt hierarchy. Seattle Seahawks are doing something here. They've won 3 of their last 4, and Russell Wilson in that stretch, 8 touchdowns, 1 pick, and a passer rating of 116. They have rebooted this franchise. They are 60% running, 40% passing. They've had 150 yards rushing in 3 straight games, and they lead the NFL in turnover differential. That is a real number. They taketh away and don't giveth back. Seattle right now, they've always played well at home. They have a Super Bowl winning coach. I think Russell Wilson's a Hall of Famer. They've stuck with an offensive line that was much maligned, and they're running the football. I mean, they ran it all over the L.A. Rams, Aaron Donald, and Ndamukong Suh. They went right at them and ran for almost 200 yards. I have Seattle at 10. Minnesota. Listen, sometimes, let's be fair about Minnesota. They've already had to go to Green Bay on a TV game. They've had to go to Philadelphia. They've had to go to Los Angeles to play the Rams. At least they played Philadelphia. They've played real offenses, and they still lead the NFL in third down defense. The schedule for the Rams, they're going to face less dynamic offenses in the second half of the year, or if they face them like Green Bay, they'll face them at home. I think Minnesota's a real team. I think they have the best receiving combination of Thielen and Stephon Diggs in the NFL. I don't always love their offensive line, and I don't trust Kirk Cousins against great teams, but they have faced some real dynamic offenses, and they lead the NFL in third down defense, which means they get people off the field. That matters a lot. I still like Minnesota. Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. I don't know. Does Le'Veon Bell, does he bring noise? I mean, James Conner's working. 7 touchdowns, could be 8. He's averaging 118 yards a game. You know, listen, we always talk about New England is a little bit loose in September. Well, let's be honest about it. This is a veteran team, veteran quarterback, veteran coach. Who says Pittsburgh's always going to be great in September? All I know, I watched them play Atlanta, and I watched them play Cincinnati, and they made big plays. The pass rush was exceptional. They're second in pass offense in the NFL. That matters in 2018, and they're second in sacks. By the way, Ben Roethlisberger, for the last 5 games, has had a 100-plus passer rating. So Todd Haley's out, new guy in, and I like what I see from Ben. I got the Steelers at 8. Philadelphia Eagles. Again, Carson Wentz wasn't 100%. Frank Reich left. Well, now Philadelphia, defensive line. Now there are limitations here. I think they're kind of a bunch of guys at running back, and I don't think they're great on the perimeter. And their secondary is a work in progress. But again, third down defense, top 3 in the league. They get you off the field. That's very big in the high-powered NFC. And number 2 in rush defense, they make you one-dimensional. So I look at Philadelphia. I like their owner. I like their GM, Howie Roseman. I like their coach, and I like their quarterback. And I mostly like their line play. It feels like to me they're just going to get better as the season progresses. Philadelphia, a 7, but with a chance to move up. L.A. Chargers. Listen, nobody's talking about the L.A. Chargers. They have a loaded roster. Pass rushers. They went and got Pouncey, the center, Phillip Rivers. Their receivers are every bit as good as the Rams, maybe better than the L.A. Rams. By the way, they pushed a talented Cleveland team all over the field for 3.5 hours. They physically dominated the Browns. Their only 2 losses are the Rams and the Chiefs. They don't really play a home game. I don't know if they have a great coach. They did a trick play this weekend that was miserable. But when I watched them on the perimeter, I watched them in terms of that rookie safety, Derwin James. Oh, God. He may make the Pro Bowl. He's incredible. That roster, they are loaded. I'm not sure they're not as loaded as the Rams. Number 6, Chargers. Listen, Kansas City's the most entertaining team in the NFL. Let's just say it. For years and years, it was Aaron Rodgers. They're now the most entertaining team in the NFL. They also have perhaps the worst defense in league history. It's awful. It's 500 yards a game. Death by 1,000 cuts by New England. And also, Patrick Mahomes now has had multiple picks in each of his last 2 games. He's a gunslinger. He almost likes throwing off balance more than on balance, but they're wildly entertaining. From skill people to Andy Reid, schematics, play design, they're just going to outscore virtually every team they play. The Saints. Now, the Saints are interesting. I like the Saints. Now, the schedule gets tough now. They got to go to Cincinnati. They got to go to Baltimore. They still have to go. They got to go to Minnesota. They play the Rams. Their schedule is going to get really, really interesting here. But here's the thing. When you can give a great quarterback a real defense, boy, you get Super Bowl teams a lot. They are number one in the NFL in rush defense. Okay, Sean Payton and Drew Brees have the best run defense in the NFL. And they're number one in points. So they score and they make you completely one-dimensional. And typical of Drew Brees, they're not turning the ball over. They have the second fewest turnovers in the NFL. New Orleans may be the best team in the league. We'll know a lot in the next month because the schedule stiffens. Ravens, this was my dark horse Super Bowl pick. They're going the opposite direction of the league. They want to play defense and run the football. Listen, you know how I feel about Flacco. When he's pushed, he's good. Otherwise, he's meh. But they've won 3 of their last 4. They're number 1 in the NFL in sacks. They're number 1 in the NFL in scoring defense. They're number 1 in the NFL in total defense. They're one of those teams that wins and is not that entertaining. They're the opposite of the Chiefs. They're not entertaining, but they're suffocating on defense in an era, in a year when virtually nobody is on defense. Ravens 3. New England, best coach, best quarterback. That 2-minute drill, it was cartoonish. It was an instructional video. 35 points plus in 3 games. I will say this. They appear to be more running than passing. I think what worries me, 2 things worry me about New England. Their pass rush is hot and cold. Situationally, it was pretty good against Kansas City when they had to flush Mahomes out, but that pass rush is inconsistent, and they really need Josh Gordon to work. He gives them a component over the top they do not have without him. I mean, that's why Brady took a locker next to Josh Gordon. You saw in that game, when Josh is in that game, hands, dynamic, strength, he really adds a component that I think they're going to need if they have to go to Kansas City or play the Chiefs again. Cross your fingers if you're a Patriot fan on Josh Gordon. I think they actually need him. I mean, the Rams, I thought they'd lose in Denver. Altitude, snow, back-to-back road games. Now, injuries are creeping in. Cooper Kupp could be out. The corners aren't healthy. But it appears to be an egoless team full of stars. Marcus Peters has been great. Todd Gurley's the man. Donald and Ndamukong Suh get along. I think top to bottom, they're the best team in the NFL. But I will tell you this, they are flawed. Their pass rush at times is non-existent. And like every team in the NFL, you get them away from that home, comfortable environment, they're not quite as dynamic and efficient offensively. What's funny about them, we see all their flash, but they're really a power running team. They're number 1 in the NFL in rushing. Todd Gurley's a monster. They're number 1 in the NFL in rushing. So for all the flash, they're a power running team. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.